If you look back on some of my older videos, you'll see I did a review on this particular Lotos 5000D plasma cutter. And it's actually a pretty good unit. It's served me really well, and I've done a lot of cutting with it. I've even done some half-inch plate, and honestly, I can't seem to kill it, and it does a really nice job. That being said, there are a few things that I don't like about it. And the first one is the wand, whatever you want to call it. There are some issues. They just zip tied the button to it, and that's okay. These zip ties break from time to time, but not a big deal. You can re-zip tie it. But if you look at the end on mine, you can see that there's been some modifications. There's been some issues. When I first got it, I blew out the side. It started arcing through the side and actually burned up part of the holder. Which hasn't really been a big deal. I just taped it on there and it's been fine. I just have to untape it every time I replace the consumables. The other issue that I have with this is these tips cost kind of a lot of money. I don't want to say they cost a fortune, but they cost more than some of the other cheaper tips that you can find on Amazon. And so, long story short, I ran out of consumables and I thought, you know what, I'm going to replace this thing with a better wand. And I don't want to spend a fortune, but I want something better than what they gave me. So after a little bit of research, I come up with what you see on the desk here. I bought this on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description so you can find it. The reviews seem pretty good on it, and it feels really nice and heavy. It feels a lot better than the one that came with the Lotos, and the consumables came with it. So for around $30. I couldn't even buy consumables for the Lotos, but for $30 here, I could buy a pretty generic wand that feels really nice and a set of consumables. And if you notice, they're not copper. This will take the little higher end. I assume that's probably like a stainless or some type of steel consumable. But what I read was these last a little longer than the copper consumables. So we'll take the wands apart and we'll see how they hook up, and we'll test this thing out. Here's the new wand all apart, ready to be hooked up. And the old wand I've taken apart as well. And lucky for me, it looks like they're just going to be a direct fit. The threading and the size looks to be about the same. And the switch is soldered on to the old one, so I'm just going to unsolder it from here and solder it onto the switch on the new wand. And about 10 or 15 minutes, we should be ready to test this out. The place where I purchased this from had in the description that this was a suitable replacement. What I found out was the threads on the end of the old wand was different than the threads on the end of the hose. So I've done probably one of the things that you're not supposed to do, and I cut the end of the hose off, and then I found out that there was a ground wire that runs all the way through the hose on the inside and connects to this. So there's some more engineering here to make this plasma cutter work than what I expected. So what I've done is I cut the pigtail off that was here, and I just soldered it onto this tube, and I cut the fitting off as well. We'll slip the hoses together and we'll put a hose clamp on it, and it should be okay for what I need. That looks a lot better. I do like how there's a ball joint in the end of this wand, and the button feels a whole lot nicer than what we had before. But the only way we're going to know how good of a job we did is to try to cut something. So let's do it. I have a piece of angle iron right here, and we're going to take the new wand and see how well it cuts. I call that a success.